欢迎回到可爱美时尚志。夏天到了，是不是越来越多人越注意自己的身材了呢？那在以前哦，我们可能会想到说抽脂手术啊，或者说利用节食啊、运动这样子的方法来达到完美的身材。不过听说最近有一个新的疗程，它是不用手术、不用吃药，但是又可以帮助你维持良好的线条。那今天我们就要来访问一下医生，请他跟我们讲一下这个新的疗程。Dr. Welsh, could you tell us a little bit about the CoolSculpting? What does it do and what is it?
The CoolSculpting is a very, very exciting FDA approved way to non-invasively remove unwanted areas of fat in a person who is of normal weight. And we're talking about areas that are resistant to exercise and diet for someone who is of a normal and steady weight. So it's FDA approved to treat the abdomen area and the love handles. And these are areas that even people who exercise as much as they, exercise every day and eat a healthy diet still have a lot of difficulty with. It's been FDA approved for 2 years now, and it's been very successful in my practice. The CoolSculpting uses a technique that was developed at Harvard Medical School. People noticed that children who sucked on popsicles a lot had fat loss in their cheeks. So they would get dimpling of the cheek. And it turns out that fat cells are very, very sensitive to cold, more sensitive than the blood vessels in the skin, the nerves, or the skin itself. And so the Zeltiq Corporation developed a method of freezing the fat without harming the skin or the blood vessels or nerves. And it's a very exciting technology.
So when you say you freeze the fat cells and then it will die, right? And then where does it go?
Well, what we do is we apply a very, very strong vacuum, and we'll demonstrate this today, to the skin. And the skin and the fat is sucked up into this chamber. It's cooled down to sub-zero temperatures. Ice begins to form within the fat cells. The ice crystallizes, and then as the fat cells thaw, the fat cells die. Now our body has a great mechanism for clearing any dead cells. Cells turn over and die in our bodies all the time. So these dead fat cells are cleared through normal mechanisms. They go through the lymph system and through the liver and are disposed as waste through our body.
Oh, I see. And then you also mentioned that it's great for the love handle and then also the abdominal area.
Absolutely.
Does that mean you cannot do the treatment on, I don't know, maybe neck or arms or
It's
side?
not FDA approved at this time for those areas, and so we don't consider a safe treatment yet in those areas.
I see. I also know that since this is a non-surgical treatment, you cannot see the result immediately, right?
Yes, it takes immediately afterwards. The area may even feel a little swollen and a little bigger. But then gradually over 3 to 6 months, you will see the area become smaller, and people do notice their jeans may fit a little looser, their clothes fit a little better, and it's a noticeable difference, but it's gradual over 3 to 4 months.
And how does the result last? How long does it last?
Well, those fat cells are permanently killed in that area, so they will never grow back. However, if you were to gain weight, other fat cells that are still alive in that area would expand, so you would gradually gain more weight in that area. So it's very important when you do something like this that you exercise regularly and keep your weight stable. The treatment is relatively painless. However, there is a very strong sucking sensation when the skin and fat is pulled into the vacuum. And then as the skin begins to freeze and the fat begins to freeze, it is relatively painless. Some people experience a mild amount of cramping, but it's very, very rare as the fat begins to thaw out. And a very few number of people do have some muscle cramps or aching in the area afterwards. Again, a very rare side effect might be an altered sensation in the skin, a little bit of numbness that does improve over time.
So you mentioned about the sucking feeling, and it's relatively painless. Do you need to apply numb medicine when you perform this treatment?
No, a very cold gel sheet is put down on the skin, but no numbing medication. And there are some people who aren't candidates. Someone who's had surgery in the area, who may have a lot of scar tissue. Anybody who has a hernia in the abdominal area might not be a candidate. And then there are also people whose fat is actually under the muscle, not under the skin, who have fat around the inside internal organs who are not good candidates.
you should be in the normal weight.
You should be in a normal weight to do this and have good results. It's not a weight loss. It's not a way to lose weight.
So you've mentioned that you will not see the result in 3 to 6 months. I also wondered, do I need to have more than one session, more than one treatment to achieve my goal?
In my office, I would say the average number of sessions is 2 to 4. And that's because generally people don't have one very small area. They have several areas they want to work on. And so in my office, it's very common for people to do 2 to 4 sessions. However, if you just had a very small localized area, one session might be enough.
I see. And how much do you charge and how much does it cost regularly?
Okay, there's a range. An initial fee is usually between $1,000 to $1,200, and then subsequent sessions may range from $500 to $600.
So actually you spend about like $3,000 to maybe
$2,000 to $3,000 or more.
I know like people usually when they considering body sculpting, they consider either liposuction or the new technology like a CoolSculpting. Could you tell us more about like what's the difference between the CoolSculpting and?
Well, the reason CoolSculpting is so popular is it's extremely safe. There's no general anesthesia, there's no risk of bleeding, there's no risk of blood clots after. So it's a non-invasive technology, and this is very, very important, especially for people who only have small amounts of fat that they'd like to improve. Liposuction can be done on a much larger scale. Some people use it for extensive removal of fat cells, and CoolSculpting is not for that. After liposuction, many people are uncomfortable. You have to wear compression garments for a long period of time. There may be bruising, and there may be an unevenness of the fat that's difficult. The CoolSculpting is a non-invasive process. You're in the office for 1 or 2 hours, and then you leave and can go about your normal activities.